Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranams to everyone on the call. Thank you all so much for patiently waiting. So today we are continuing to read from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila. We are doing chapter 18 currently, and today we will do just one verse, that is 1838. So I'll read the verse, we'll do the prayers, and then we'll get into the description. Om Ajnanathimmirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Juta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sakrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Namavam Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Radhanatha Swaminiti Namine Namavam Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatari Shakarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Vancha Kalpatarubhascha Kripa Sindhuvescha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila, 1838. Vamastamara akshasya bhujadhanda sapatuva krida kandulatam ena nito govindano gira. Translation. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, may the left arm of Sri Krishna, whose eyes are like the petals of a lotus flower, always protect you. With his left arm, he raised the Govardhan hill as if it were a toy. This verse is found in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 2162. I'll read the verse again. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, may the left arm of Sri Krishna, whose eyes are like petals of a lotus flower, always protect you. With his left arm, he raised Govardhan hill as if it was a toy. A very, very beautiful verse. It's a prayer by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu when he saw the Govardhan hill. So this 18th chapter in Chaitanya Charitamrita is actually a very, very interesting chapter because it describes Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's visit to Vrindavan. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he visited Vrindavan actually first in November of 1515. That means exactly 502 years ago. So we are in 2017 now, and Mahaprabhu visited in 1515. So in fact, 2 years back, we celebrated the 500th year of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu visiting Vrindavan. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his followers, when they went to Vrindavan, his followers are the 6 Goswamis, they all searched in and around Vrindavan, and they found all the shrines that are associated with Lord Krishna, and they mapped all the important places of Krishna's nectarian pastimes in and around Vrindavan. So to this day, in the month of Kartik, that is in the November month, it's a tradition for all the devotees to somehow or the other make a visit to this holy land of Vrindavan, following in the footsteps of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So that was 500 years ago, since, it's been about 500 years since Chaitanya Mahaprabhu actually went to Vrindavan. Now we are seeing in this chapter about Sri Mahaprabhu's visit to Vrindavan. So what have we seen so far in this chapter? Just to summarize what we have seen so far, We have seen how Sri Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went and visited Arishtagram. Remember the name Arishtasura, who was killed by Krishna, the bull demon. So first, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he went and visited Arishtagram, and there he discovered Radhakund and Shyamakund in the paddy fields. So we heard some very interesting classes on this topic already. Then we saw how the Lord proceeded, and he went forward and he went and saw the Govardhan hill. So when the Lord saw the Govardhan hill, he immediately offered obeisances, falling down on the ground just like a rod. And he went and he took one piece of rock from Govardhan hill, he embraced that rock, and he became mad in ecstatic love. So from there, after embracing that rock, the Lord came to a village known as Govardhan. The village itself was known as Govardhan. So there, in that village, he saw a deity named Harideva. We saw this in the previous class, yesterday's class. So Mahaprabhu saw this deity named Harideva, and he offered his obeisances to him. And while staying at the Haridev temple that night, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he thought to himself that I will not climb this hill, because Haridev temple is below the Govardhan hill in that village. But actually, there is a deity on top of the hill, and that deity's name is Gopal Rai. So, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was thinking that I'm not going to climb the Govardhan hill, because Govardhan hill is non-different from Krishna. I cannot set my foot on the Govardhan hill. But how will I be able to see this deity, beautiful deity of Gopal Rai? So, thinking like this, the Lord was very sad and he remained silent. So, Lord Gopal, who's again non-different from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, understanding the contemplation of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, decided to play a trick. Now, Gopal, he decided to come down Govardhan to see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who was thinking himself to be a devotee. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was in the mood of a devotee, and he was thinking, as a devotee, how can I step on Govardhan hill? So Gopal, who is again non-different from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, inconceivable emotions, Gopal and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Gopal decided that he should come down Govardhan hill and give audience to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So this Gopal deity, as I was mentioning, was on top of the Govardhan hill in a place called Annakuta. And again, we saw in the previous class as to how all the devotees here in this Annakuta Gram, they were from Rajasthan, and this is the exact place where the Annakuta ceremony was performed for the pleasure of Govardhan hill by the order of Krishna, and it was headed by Nanda Maharaj. The ceremony was performed several years ago when Krishna was here. The Annakut ceremony was performed. So the village itself on top of Govardhan hill, this area is called as the Annakut Gram. So Krishna, when all these offerings were made to Govardhan hill, he himself took the form of Govardhan, and declaring that I am Govardhan, he ate up all the offerings, deceiving all the devotees or all the Vrajavasis who were there, including Srimati Radharani. So this pastime happened here, and here when Sriman Mahaprabhu is coming here and seeing this beautiful hill of Govardhan, he's in ecstasy, and he's remembering the pastime of Krishna lifting the Govardhan hill with his little finger of the left arm. So that is the meditative verse that we are seeing today. So now Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was of course still below Govardhan hill. He didn't think of climbing the Govardhan hill, thinking it to be Krishna. So he was waiting. So meanwhile, one day, a person who came to this village informed the inhabitants that Turkish soldiers are preparing to attack that village. So there was a messenger who came and told all these villagers in Annakuta, which is on top of Govardhan hill, that you all must vacate this village as soon as possible, and you must also take the deity with you so that the deity is protected. The deity should not stay here, because the Muslims, when they come here, they will ransack this entire area and they will surely destroy the temple. So hearing all this, the villagers there, they became very anxious, and they first took Gopal and moved him to a village known as Gantholi. So this Gopal was moved to a village called as Gantholi Gram. Now Gopal deity was kept in the house of a Brahmin there, and his worship was conducted very secretly. So this is a very, very common feature that is seen in those days. Many times, many ancient temples all over India were attacked during the Mughal rule, And many devotees, they all had to protect the deities, and they hid the deities in various places, and worship was continued secretly without others knowing in different places. So the Mughal soldiers, they would ruthlessly destroy all the temples, and in fact, they went to the extent of even destroying the deities in the temple. So we know we have lost a lot. Actually, a lot of temples have been destroyed, a lot of beautiful structures have been destroyed. Not only that, even the deities in the temple have been harmed. For the devotees are their lives. A devotee would go to any extent to protect his beloved Lord. After all, the deity in the temple is actually not different from Krishna, right? So everyone was very worried. The first thing they did was to protect their deity. So out of fear of the Muslims, this Gopal deity was moved from one place to another again and again. And in the that day morning, the next day morning, so this was happening. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was there down. He was thinking, how am I to climb this Govardhan hill? And simultaneously, Gopal understood what was there in Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mind, and he moved to Gantuligram. Okay, so the next day morning, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he woke up and he went and took his bath in Manasi Ganga. Then he circumambulated Govardhan hill, and he went further and he took his bath in a lake called as Govindakund. So first, Mahaprabhu takes bath in Manasi Ganga, he circumambulates Govardhan, and there he takes bath in a place called as Govindakund. So remember this place, Govindakund. We'll come back to this. And when he was there, when he was near Govindakund, he heard from a devotee that this Gopal deity had already gone to Gantuligram. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very happy because he didn't have to climb the hill now to go to Annakut. He didn't have to go to Annakut Gram because the deity had already come to Gantuligram. So then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, very happily, he went to this village called as Gantuligram, and he saw the beautiful form of this Gopal deity. So he was overwhelmed with ecstatic love, and he began to chant and dance. And seeing this beautiful, beautiful deity of Gopal, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu recited this famous verse: "May the left arm of Sri Krishna, whose eyes are like lotus petals of lotus flower, always protect you. With his left arm, he raised Govardhan hill as if it was just a toy." And this verse is also found in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, written by Rupa Goswami, verse 2162. So this is the context of this verse, and this is the story of Sri Mahaprabhu that has happened so far. Now, while as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is actually meditating on this Govardhan pastime of Lord Sri Krishna, lifting the Govardhan hill with his little finger of the left arm, we will also meditate on this pastime. So Lord Sri Krishna, very interestingly, he lifted the Govardhan hill with his little finger of the left arm. The little finger of the left arm is actually considered as the weakest part of one's body. And Krishna lifted the Govardhan hill and held it on this little finger that is considered as the weakest part of our entire body for 7 days. Like as if Govardhan hill was a little toy and his lotus-like eyes, with his beautiful lotus eyes, he was lovingly glancing at all the residents of Vrindavan, simultaneously satisfying their desire to be with him. Krishna also had a desire to be with all the residents of Vrindavan in one place. So his desire was being fulfilled, and also the desires of the people of Vrindavan was also being fulfilled. So in that beautiful pose, Krishna holding the Govardhan hill with the little finger of his left arm, he raised the Govardhan hill, and very lovingly he was looking at all the devotees. So we all know this pastime. But however, I thought it would be nice for us to meditate on this pastime and see some interesting and fascinating details in the Govardhan Lila. So we'll do that today. So let's rewind a little bit to the time when Krishna was there. When Krishna was 7 years old, the cowherd men of Vrindavan, they were very, very busy arranging for a sacrifice that was to be done towards Indra. It was a yajnik sacrifice. They were planning to do that sacrifice for the pleasure of Indra. Now Krishna, who's the Sarvatma and the Paramatma in everyone's heart, and also Krishna, who's Sarvadarshan, who knows about everyone, and he also knows about the future of everyone. Very, very cleverly, this Supreme Lord, he went and asked his father about the sacrifice that they were performing. And the reason behind him asking his father about the sacrifice was that he could somehow or the other smash Indra's pride and enjoy the pastimes with his loving devotees for 7 days in the pretext of protecting them by lifting Govardhan hill. So this was the plan in Krishna's mind. So Krishna wanted 2 things to be done. One is to smash the pride of Indra, and the second thing is to spend time with all the devotees simultaneously. So thinking like that, Krishna, he went very cleverly, he went and began to inquire from his father about the sacrifice that they were all performing towards Indra. So Krishna went and asked them, so father, it appears that you're all performing this sacrifice. Is this sacrifice being performed as per scriptural injunctions, or is it just a local custom of ordinary society that you're adapting and practicing? So when Nanda Maharaj was questioned like this, Nanda Maharaj explained to his son that this sacrifice or this yajna was towards pleasing Indra, who's supplying them with rainwater, and rainwater in fact is the basis of sustenance for all living creatures. So it was very important for them to please Indra. So when Krishna heard this, just to instigate a little anger in Indra, Krishna began talking about the philosophy of karma mimamsa. That means karma is the basis of life. It is only because of karma that one takes birth, one goes through this life, and really demigods have nothing to do with all this. It's just our life, we are going through it. Demigods have no role. Why are you trying to please Indra? So like that, Krishna began arguing. Rather, he started giving important points to his father in using concepts from Karma Mimamsa and other atheistic shastras. So Krishna, not that Krishna believed in many atheistic philosophies, but Krishna spoke all that just to instigate some anger in Indra, so that Indra would get angry because he wanted to perform this pastime. So he explained to his father, and then he told his father, Father, we are all Vaishyas. Our occupational duties are of 4 divisions. What are those 4 divisions? For Vaishyas, it is farming, commerce, cow protection, and money lending. Now, out of all these 4 divisions, our community particularly is always engaged in cow protection. So, these cows are the most worshipable for us. We are dwelling mostly in the forest area and hills. That's where we take our cows for grazing. So we have this Govardhan hill close to us. Govardhan means that which nourishes the cow. Go means cow, Vardhana means to nourish. So this Govardhan is providing us with abundant green grass, and our cows are being nourished by this grass, and we in turn, we are dependent on well-fed cows because we are Vaishyas and this is our primary occupation. So actually, looking at it logically, we must be worshipping Govardhan hill. We shouldn't be worshipping Indra, who's not connected to this whole process. So Krishna suggested that all the sacrifice must be conducted for the pleasure of the cows, and actually we should only be worshipping Govardhan hill. So with all the paraphernalia that you have collected, Krishna suggested that you should worship, instead of worshipping Indra, you should rather worship Govardhan hill. And Krishna said, see, this Govardhan hill, he actually blesses us immediately with perceivable results. Because every day we are taking the cows are grazing there, and the cows are being nourished, and in turn we are being benefited from the cows. So who is giving us immediate results? It is Govardhan who is blessing us every day. So let us go and perform sacrifice for Govardhan. So when Krishna suggested this, all the elders, Nanda Maharaj and all the elders in the village, they understood that it was a very logical proposition. So they decided, yes, whatever Krishna is saying is correct. And whatever offerings they had, all nice foodstuffs like rice and sweet rice and fruits and vegetables and everything that they had, sweets, everything they had, they decided to give it to Govardhan. So Krishna told them that we should offer all the nice foodstuffs to Govardhan, and once it is offered to Govardhan, we should please all the Brahmins, we should give them nice food to eat. Not only the Brahmins, we should please everyone in the village. We should feed everyone sumptuously. We should even feed the dogs and the dog eaters. That is, each and every living entity should be fed properly. So Krishna said, this is my idea, Father. So if it is appealing to you, you should perform the sacrifice, because it will be pleasing to the cows, it will be pleasing to the brahmanas, and also it will be pleasing to me, Krishna says. So very nicely here he says it is pleasing to Brahmins, cows and me. We say, right, Namo Brahmanya Devaya, Go Brahmana Hitaya Cha, Jagatithaya Krishnaya, Govindaya Namo Namaha. So Krishna himself declares that this Govardhan Puja will be pleasing to all three of them, Krishna, cows and Brahmanas. So when Nanda Maharaj heard this, he felt it was logical, and all the cowherd men, they agreed to perform this great festival to honor Giri Govardhan. And all the offerings that were already made, rice, savory, cakes, sweet rice, everything was taken and it was offered to Govardhan Hill. So once the offering had started towards Govardhan Hill, Krishna, he assumed a huge form that was never seen before, and declaring, I am Giri Govardhan, Krishna ate all the offerings. So in order to show this superiority of sacrifice, this sacrifice towards Govardhan that was suggested by himself, and to increase the faith on the Vrajavasis, Krishna himself appeared in another personal form that looked like a second mountain standing on top of Govardhan. So this is how Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur describes Krishna's appearance as Govardhan Giri. So Krishna himself appeared in another personal form that looked like a second mountain standing on top of Govardhan. And appearing there, Krishna said, I am the presiding deity of Govardhan, and I am very satisfied by all your offerings. He said that, and he ate all the offerings given by everyone who came from different directions in and around that area. And when he ate all the offerings, he completed everything. Everyone's heart was so filled with joy that Govardhan had finished all the preparations that they had offered. Each and every preparation of each and every Vrajavasi who had offered it physically and mentally was accepted by Krishna in the form of Govardhan. And the Vrajavasis were so happy. They were thinking, this is so nice. Govardhan has literally eaten up everything. We have been doing the sacrifice towards Indra for so many years, and Indra doesn't really eat up all our offerings, nor does he appear like this personally in front of us. But Govardhan is so merciful. He has taken such a beautiful form. He has appeared in front of us, and not only that, he has accepted all the offerings that we have given. So this is the pastime of Krishna becoming Govardhan and accepting all the offerings of the Vrajavasis. Now, Govardhan is a very interesting personality. Govardhan is simultaneously Krishna, and also he is a devotee of Krishna. And this is actually inconceivable. Because, see, we all worship Govardhan Shila, right? Govardhan Shila is non-different from Krishna. He is Krishna. At the same time, he takes the role of a devotee of Krishna. Oftentimes you must have heard that there are three prominent Haridasas. Who are the three Haridasas that are mentioned? Yudhishthira Maharaj, he is one of the greatest devotees of Krishna. Uddhava and Giri Govardhan. The three of them have been given the title Haridas. They are one of the best servants of Krishna. So this is the story of Giri Govardhan accepting all the offerings of the Vrajavasis. Now, Giri Govardhan ate up everything. Indra's sacrifice was messed up. So Indra, he came to know that the sacrifice actually meant for him was diverted towards Govardhan, and he got very, very angry. And Indra, thinking himself to be the supreme controller, what he did was he sent forth huge Samvartaka clouds accompanied by 7 winds of destruction, headed by Avaha and Pravaha. These are the different winds. There are 7 winds that come during the time of destruction, along with the Samvartaka clouds, huge, heavy, black clouds that inundate the entire world during the time of destruction. Indra was extremely angry. Whatever was meant for him was actually given away to someone else, and he felt very insulted. He thought he is the controller, he is the king of the Devas. He became very, very angry, and he sent the Samvartaka clouds to go and inundate the entire Braj Bhumi. So all these clouds, they actually appear at the time of destruction, but Indra decided to send them now. So he thought, these Vrajavasis, they've actually acted inimical towards me. They've taken shelter of the words of that arrogant, talkative child, and moved by these Avaha and Pravaha winds, all the clouds, they blazed with lightning, and there was thunder everywhere, and it all hurled hailstorms in that entire area. And the rain was so heavy, it was pouring. Indra was so angry. All the Samvartaka clouds were pouring heavy rains. It appeared like as if huge pillars were actually falling on earth, covering this entire area of Rajbhumi with water. And everybody was wet. Everyone was drenched severely. They were shivering from the rain, and the wind had pained them so much. It was so cold. All the cowherd men, ladies, and the cows and the calves, they all ran towards Krishna. They all approached the beautiful lotus feet of Govinda. So all the cowherd people, they had seen so far. So Krishna was born. Now he's 7 years old. In all these 7 years, they saw how Krishna had actually protected them during the time of distress. They saw that somehow or the other it was Krishna who was protecting them. So they all ran to Krishna seeking for protection from him, thinking every time Narayana, the Supreme Lord, he empowers this little boy to protect us during the time of danger. So this was the mood of the Brajavasis. The Brajavasis, they never thought, oh, the Supreme Lord is here with us. They always thought, oh, Krishna is an ordinary boy. He's a loving boy. He's our child. That's how they thought Krishna to be. So they thought, oh, Supreme Lord Narayana is protecting this boy, and every time the Supreme Lord empowers him to protect us. So thinking like that, the cowherd boys, the cowherd men and women, they discussed among themselves. The cows and the calves and all the people in Rajbhumi, they all ran towards Krishna's lotus feet. And seeing this, when everyone came running to Krishna and seeing the condition of all the people, Krishna felt a lot of pain. He felt really, really sad seeing what was caused by Indra, the rain that was caused by Indra and Raja. But Krishna, he got so angry actually initially that he desired to destroy the entire Swargaloka, because Indra is the controller of the Swargaloka. He was very, very angry with Indra. But then he thought for a moment. He thought Indra and the Devatas, they're all very inferior. They are just acting in a silly manner. They're all inferior. A wave of compassion actually came within Krishna's heart, and he thought, Indra is not suitable object of my anger. He's just acting out of ignorance. So thinking like that, Krishna went and he lifted the Govardhan hill so that he could give bliss to all his friends. So this whole pastime was arranged by Krishna so that Krishna could taste the sweetness of the prema of the devotees there to the fullest satisfaction. So understanding Indra to be the cause of this problem, Krishna told the Brajavasis that Indra and other demigods like Vayu, who are assisting him and bringing about the clouds and this rain and this wind, they are thinking themselves to be the Supreme Lord, and they are thinking themselves to be great controllers, but they are actually ignorant. But I will destroy their ignorance today. So saying like that, Krishna went up to the Govardhan hill. He picked up the Govardhan hill with his left hand and he held it up just like a little mushroom. Now, with this umbrella of Giriraj, Krishna blocked the Samvartaka clouds and created a living space in the form of a huge house beneath this mountain. So he created a place where everyone could come and live, one house where everybody could come and take shelter. And interestingly, when this happened, when Krishna ran towards Govardhan hill and picked it up, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he mentions in his commentary that actually when Krishna was preparing to lift Govardhan hill, a partial expansion of his Yogamaya Shakti known as Samhariki Shakti. This is also there in Prabhupada's purport. You should read, when you read Prabhupada's purport, it's very, very beautiful the way Prabhupada brings about these subtle points of Govardhan Lila. So, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he explains that when Krishna was preparing to lift this Govardhan hill, a partial expansion of his Yogamaya Shakti known as Samhariki Shakti temporarily removed the rain from the sky so that Krishna could run swiftly from the porch to the mountain. So when he was running towards the mountain, temporarily everything had stopped and neither his turban or his garments became wet. So then Krishna went and picked up Govardhan and he called out to everyone to come and take shelter of Govardhan hill. So when he called out to all the people there, the cowherd people were wondering how so many thousands of people and animals can take shelter under this Govardhan hill, which is only 3 miles across. So all the Rajavasis were very surprised. They were thinking, how can all of us get under just this little hill? Because it's little in the sense that it's only 3 miles across, they were thinking. So here is the answer. Because Govardhan hill was an ecstasy being touched by Krishna's hands, it acquired inconceivable power, and even hundreds and thousands of deadly thunderbolts that were sent by angry Indra that was falling on Govardhan hill felt like as if it was offerings of soft, fragrant flowers. So just by the touch of Krishna's little finger, Govardhan hill was an ecstasy, and Govardhan hill expanded. And not only did Govardhan hill expand, but also whatever Govardhan was feeling at that time, all this thunderbolts that Indra was throwing, and all the rain and all this lightning and everything, it was like as a soft flowers were falling on Govardhan hill. In fact, sometimes Govardhan didn't even have any slightest feeling of any attack that was happening on him. Govardhan, who was just 3 miles, he actually expanded his form to 32 miles. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says. He expanded it himself to 32 miles so that all the inhabitants, the cows, the buffaloes, each and every animal, every living being in Rajabhumi could come under his shelter. So actually, Govardhan hill can give shelter to all the 3 worlds. What to speak of the land of Raja? It was just touched by Krishna and completely activated. So when Krishna lifted the Govardhan hill, everyone came under Govardhan hill's shelter. Now one can ask, what happened to the animals that were on Govardhan hill? There were so many animals and other living creatures on top of Govardhan hill. So many plants, so many trees. What about them? Weren't they completely drenched and destroyed? No. When Krishna lifted the Govardhan hill rose above all the clouds, so that all the deer, hogs and birds and everyone on Govardhan were higher than the clouds, so they didn't feel any distress. They surpassed the clouds, so they didn't get drenched. They didn't feel any distress. It was very, very cool and nice and enjoyable for them. So that is the inconceivable power of Krishna and his inconceivable mercy. So everybody, they went under the shelter of this mountain, whoever were there below Govardhan hill, everyone, they went under the shelter of this mountain along with their carts. All the cowherd men, they took their cows, buffaloes, their carts, and not only that, they took all their associates, everyone in the house, everybody, they all gathered, they went and stood under Govardhan hill. They forgot all their hunger and thirst, and putting aside all their personal considerations, they all stood there under the hill for 7 days. Not only the people of Vrindavan, but also Lord Sri Krishna, without thinking of hunger or thirst. Not that he really has to think about hunger or thirst, but still they didn't do their daily activities. They were completely absorbed. All the Rajavasis were absorbed in love of Krishna, and Krishna was absorbed in the love of the Rajavasis. So standing there, completely absorbed in each other, gazing very mercifully, very happily, very lovingly at the people of Vrindavan, Krishna stood there for 7 days. And everybody was simply gazing at the beautiful face of Krishna. They forgot all about their hunger and thirst. In fact, the Samvartaka clouds, actually they couldn't flood Govardhan. Now, we saw recently how in the US and different places, we have been attacked by so many hurricanes and natural disasters, and we've seen so much floods, Houston, Florida, everywhere we've been seeing so much floods. How this entire place has been flooded. People were saying 3 feet, 5 feet of water had covered their homes. So you can imagine when such heavy rains come, what can happen to a place. It can really get flooded. But here, during these 7 days when Krishna was there lifting Govardhan hill, and all these Samvartaka clouds had come and they had flooded they had actually rained on Govardhan. Actually, Govardhan was not flooded. Govardhan didn't get flooded. It was not like there was 5 or 6 feet of water that was logging there when Krishna was lifting Govardhan hill. Miracle, right? It didn't happen. How? Because it was by the Lord's Ichha Shakti. By the power of the Lord's Ichha Shakti, he immediately dried up all the water that fell on the ground for 7 days. And these 7 days passed just like one Gatika. In Sanskrit, one Gatika means about 24 minutes. Okay, that is a period. It's a different period. I think this is there in the Bhagavatam also, starting from Anu, how to calculate time. So it is mentioned that these 7 days passed like 24 minutes for the residents of Vrindavan, and the place where they were standing was actually not flooded. And this was accommodated, this plan, this was facilitated rather by Krishna's Ichha Shakti. So this lifting of Govardhan happened for 7 days, and everyone was very, very happy. Everyone was having the pleasure of seeing Krishna continuously. Now, I said 7 days, right? So there is actually an interesting connection between Govardhan Lila and Chappan Bhog. So Chappan Bhog is offered to Jagannath, and in fact in many temples Lord Krishna has offered Chappan Bhog, 56 offerings, very famous, right? We often do Chappan Bhog, everyone gets together and we cook 56 items and we offer it to the Lord. So there is a very interesting connection between Govardhan Lila and Chappan Bhog offering. So what is that connection? When Krishna lifted the Govardhan mountain for 7 days, he couldn't eat anything, right? We just saw how the Brajvasis as well as Krishna, they didn't eat anything or they didn't even drink water. They were just looking at each other in so much love. They were not really worried about eating or drinking. After 7 days, when the entire Leela was over, the Brajvasis were very, very happy that the rain had subsided. But at the same time, they felt very bad that their sweet Krishna had not eaten food for 7 days. So Yashoda feeds Krishna 8 times a day. Okay, small meals. Actually, there is a list of how Krishna eats. I don't have the list with me now, but he takes a total of 8 meals, which includes his small snacks, the big meals as well as the small snacks. So totally he eats 8 times in a day. Okay, that's how Yashoda feeds him. So Krishna eats 8 times, and 7 days had passed without eating. So you multiply 7 into 8, you get 56. So Krishna had missed 56 offerings during that time. So 7 days, he missed a total of 56 offerings. So all the Vrajavasis, after the Govardhan Leela was over, they lovingly fed him 56 offerings of all the meals that he had missed. So therefore, even to this day, we follow this custom of offering Chappan Bhog to Krishna in all the major temples. So as a token of love and gratitude, after the Govardhan Leela was over, it is a tradition for everyone to offer this Chappan Bhog to the Supreme Lord on all the festive occasions, remembering the Govardhan Leela pastime. Actually, when we do Chappan Bhog, we're supposed to remember the Govardhan Leela pastime about how Krishna missed 56 meals and we should go and give him 56 offerings. So that is the idea. So all these 7 continuous days, all the associates of Krishna were standing with Krishna. They were enjoying different pastimes with Krishna, just gazing at him. So what were the emotions of all these Brajvasis when they were standing for 7 days? That is very interesting. This is again recounted by Rupa Goswami in his Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu and in some other places like Lalita Madhava and other places. The different emotions of all the associates of Krishna while they were standing under the hill. So all the friends of Krishna, the Sakhas, in their friendship, they were thinking, Krishna, you've spent 7 nights standing constantly without sleep and you're holding up this huge Govardhan hill. You must be very tired. My friend Krishna, just throw this mountain into Sridham's hand. Let him carry it. You don't have to carry it. Your hand must be paining. We are so disturbed seeing your condition. So, or if you cannot give it to Sridham, if Sridham is not capable of holding it, at least put this mountain on your right hand. So at that time, when you transfer this mountain to your right hand, we will come and massage your left hand. So this is the emotions and the conversations that the Sakhas were having with Krishna. Okay. Then in Vatsalya Rasa, what was Mother Yashoda doing in the 7 days? In the Vatsalya Rasa, Mother Yashoda, she was so disturbed. She was going through so many emotions. She was stunned. She was totally stunned because her little kid was holding up such a huge mountain. She was feeling so bad she couldn't go and embrace Krishna, who was lifting Govardhan hill, because her limbs were paralyzed. Seeing Krishna lift up that Govardhan hill with his little finger, her limbs became paralyzed. She just couldn't gaze upon him continuously because her eyes were filled with tears. She could not even give him instructions because her voice was choked up. She was going through so much emotions in love, in Vatsalya Rasa, in a mood of protection of Krishna. She was so worried how my little child is able to hold up such a huge mountain. And suddenly, she saw some perspiration on Krishna's forehead. She saw Krishna was sweating while he was lifting up Govardhan hill in his hand. So she began trembling in fear that this Govardhan will fall on him. She was not worried Govardhan is going to fall down and crash me. She was worried, oh, my little child is holding up Govardhan. And what will happen if it falls down on him? So she started trembling in fear. Her eyes opened up in astonishment, seeing the boldness of the 7-year-old boy who had lifted this hill. She was thinking, this little boy, he is always scared of everything as a kid. He used to come and hide under my pallu, but now he's holding up this Govardhan with so much boldness. So this 7-year-old boy has become so bold all of a sudden. And then sometimes she was going through so many emotions. She was going through emotions of fear, and she was so worried, and she was astonished. She was stunned. See the number of emotions that Yashoda goes through during this period. And then at times, her cheeks were even filled with laughter on seeing Krishna's playful expressions on his face when he smiled at his friends. So Krishna was having different emotions with different people. We saw how the Sakas were telling Krishna, just throw that Govardhan hill on Sridhar. You don't hold it anymore. We are going to come and massage your hands. So like that, seeing the different emotions of Krishna while he was playfully talking to his cowherd boys, Yashoda's cheeks, they became red. She began smiling looking at his playful emotions. Then tears were flowing down her eyes sometimes when she was seeing Krishna, how he was holding up Govardhan for 7 days. Her cloth became wet as if milk flowed out from her breast with affection. Everything was wet. And Krishna was intoxicated, completely looking at the love of all the devotees who were around him. And while all this was going on, Krishna was even enjoying Madhurya Rasa with Radharani and the gopis. So in Lalita Madhava and in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, there are some interesting details given about what the gopis, what the pastimes of the gopis with Krishna. Krishna, when he would see Radharani with his slanting eyes, he would be disturbed in a sense like he would start shaking, and the entire Govardhan hill would shake because he was just diverted by looking at the beauty of Srimati Radharani. And Balram noticed this, and Balram started smiling at Krishna, catching him looking at the gopis and shaking like that. And seeing Balram smiling in front of him, Krishna, he felt very shy and he puts his head down. So like that, so mixed emotions, so many emotions of different devotees, and Krishna being noticed, and Krishna feeling ashamed, Krishna feeling shy. And so many cowherd men actually glorifying Krishna at that time. The cowherd men, just like Yashoda Ma, they were also very, very concerned for Krishna, but at the same time they were so amazed at what Krishna was doing, and they were glorifying him. So like this, so many emotions and so many pastimes with all the devotees, with all rasas simultaneously at the same time. Krishna really enjoyed these 7 days. Now, after Krishna enjoyed with all his associates, finally our dear Indra came to his senses. Actually, he was astonished by Krishna's mystic power, and he was completely pulled down from his platform of false pride. He could understand that this boy is not ordinary, and he ordered all the clouds to withdraw. Actually, he was a little scared that Krishna will punish him, seeing what Krishna did for 7 days. He was thinking, oh my God, this boy really has something. And his false pride was shattered, and he was scared that Krishna will punish him, and he asked all the Samvartaka clouds to withdraw. After the rain had stopped, Krishna requested all the residents to go back, And while all the residents of Vrindavan were looking at Krishna very lovingly, Krishna put down the Govardhan hill in its original place as it stood before. Then after this was over, after Krishna put down Govardhan hill in the exact spot where Govardhan stood, all the Brajavasis came, embraced Krishna, the elders blessed Krishna with their love, and this entire episode was over. Now for a hungry person, the pain of hunger increases the happiness he feels when he finally eats very good food. So hunger is said to enhance the pleasure of eating. Similarly, the residents of Vrindavan, although not experiencing any ordinary material anxiety, they all felt a type of distress because of the activities of Indra. This intensified their meditation on Krishna. Just like how a hungry person, when he gets food, he becomes very happy. Like that, the residents of Vrindavan, with all the distress that they were experiencing, their love for Krishna at the end of these 7 days, their meditation on Krishna was intensified. So finally, when the Lord reciprocated with them for the 7 days, the result, the happiness that they felt was actually very, very wonderful. So this is the pastime, the emotions, and the happiness that the Brajavasis were feeling in those 7 days. Now, an interesting question can be raised here. Actually, Balram, who is there near Krishna, he is Anantasesh. Actually, Anantasesh can simply open up his hoods and give protection to all the Brajavasis. In fact, when Krishna was being carried from Mathura to Gokul, it was Balram, it was Anantasesh who actually gave protection to Krishna from the rain, right? He opened up his hoods and Vasudeva could very easily carry Krishna across. When it was raining, he carried him across the Yamuna. So the question is, can't Balram do this? It's after all Indra's reign, right? Like, can't Balram really protect the devotees of Rajabhumi? The answer is, Krishna had already decided that he wanted to curb the pride of Indra and have sweet pastimes with all the devotees at one place for 7 days. So it was improper and impossible for Krishna's expansion to do anything else. Balram didn't show his powers because of this. Krishna is Shaktiman, and by his desire, suitable powers will appear when necessary in Balram and all his other expansions. In fact, though Balram could have done it, Krishna didn't allow Balram to do it. So that is the point that can be understood from here. In fact, not only Balram, but also all the cowherd men, they also offered help out of love. They were trying to hold the mountain with their sticks, but actually it was impossible. It was impossible for them to do that. It was only by Krishna's power that the entire Govardhan hill could be lifted and kept in a place, because Krishna had already decided that he wanted to do it. So that's a very beautiful realization about the presence of Balram, and Balram not actually holding up his hoods and protecting the Rajabhumi. So anyway, Indra, who was ashamed, he came down to apologize to Krishna. And not only Indra, but also Surabhi, the mother of all the cows, on the order of Brahma, she also came along to worship Krishna. And we see after this Govardhan Lila pastime, we see how in Srimad Bhagavatam, Indra offers very beautiful prayers, and the prayers of Indra is a special seminar by itself. So we will not get into the prayers, but we will just get into a few other little details. Mother Surabhi, who came from the material Goloka. Actually, there is, interestingly, in the material world also, there is a Goloka, which is the planet of the cows. This is not to be confused with the spiritual planet of Goloka. This is specifically written on the purport of Srila Prabhupada, and not only in the purports of Srila Prabhupada, in many places it is mentioned. So one must not think that the Goloka is only in the material world. The material world of Goloka has the cows, and we also have the spiritual world Goloka, where Krishna eternally resides. Now, Mother Surabhi, who is in the material Goloka, she came down and she personally performed the bathing ceremony of Krishna with her own milk. And Indra, ordered by his mother Aditi and other mothers of the demigods, he anointed Lord Krishna with Ganga water flowing out from the trunk of his elephant carrier Airavata. And after Krishna was bathed with milk and the Ganges water, Indra coronated Krishna as the descendant of Dashara and gave him the name Govinda. So the name Govinda was given at this point in time because Krishna protected all the cows. He was given the name Govinda at this time. Now, Govinda means protector of cows. Not only that, Govinda also means one who protects or nourishes the devotees by attracting their senses. We know in Bhagavad Gita we have gone through this. The meaning of go means cow, also go means senses. So there are different meanings for the name Govinda. Not only that, specifically Indra gives Krishna the name Govinda because go also means heaven. Okay, heaven also is indicated by the go shabda. So go also means heaven. So Govinda also means one who is actually in the position of Indra. So Indra is saying you are actually the controller. You are Indra. Specifically here, Indra is humbled and he accepts that he is not the controller, and it is actually Krishna who is the supreme controller. So he coronates him as Govinda. So very, very beautiful. The emotions that again Indra goes through, the beautiful prayers of Indra, we are not discussing it here, but they are very, very beautiful prayers, and how his pride is actually curbed is explained here. And Srila Prabhupada, in one of his purports, he writes very beautifully that man or false prestige is certainly an anxiety-ridden burden for the conditioned soul. A falsely proud person is not truly peaceful or satisfied because his understanding of himself is false and inflated. When a servant of the Lord becomes asakt or irreligious, the Lord saves him from impiety by breaking the false prestige that has led him to become offensive and sinful. Very beautifully, Prabhupada explains how this false prestige can harm a person and how the Supreme Lord helps a person to come out of this false prestige. So after all the Abhishek for Krishna was done and Krishna was coronated as Govinda, the Abhishek water that came out after bathing Krishna got collected in a kund called as Govinda Kund. So we saw how Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, coming back to the beginning of our talk, we saw how Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he went and bathed in the Manasi Ganga, he went circumambulated Govardhan, and there was Govinda Kund. He went and he bathed in Govinda Kund. Then he went to Gantuli Grap, right? That's how we saw the story. So this is where the Govinda Kund was formed, and this is how the story of the Govinda Kund actually happened. Okay? So there are actually many, many Leelas within this Govardhan Leela. Govardhan Leela is an ocean, actually. There are so many little Leelas that were happening within this major Leela. And if you read Srila Prabhupada's purports and the purports of our previous Acharya, there is so much more dimensions to this Leela. Actually, all the Brajavasis, when the torrents of rains were falling and there was thunder and lightning, they were all actually very scared. They were all suffering. And at this time of suffering, they all ran to Krishna. They shouted, "Krishna, save me." Then Krishna lifted the Govardhan. So when storms come in our life, and surely they will, that is the nature of this world, there will be storms. Some days, of course, everything will be very nice and it will be like a sunny day. But some days it will appear like everything is against us and everything is impossible. What am I to do? I cannot face anyone. I cannot do anything. So during such times, when we also have storms in our life, following in the footsteps of the Brajavasis, we must run to the lotus feet of Giridhari, Govinda, and say, "Oh Govinda, oh Gopal, I am all yours. Please save me. Tell me how I can serve you." Then, when we surrender like that, Krishna as Giridhari, he left this Govardhan hill of his mercy and protect us from all the miseries and sufferings of this world. So this is the major lesson we take from this Govardhan Leela. Of course, there are so many lessons and so many lectures of our previous Guru Vargas and Acharyas that tell us about the different lessons we can learn from Govardhan Hill. There are so many seminars given by so many Maharajas. It's very nice to hear so many different realizations that one can get from hearing this pastime and meditating on this pastime. Now, the same Sri Krishna, he incarnated as the Govardhan Hill, and the Govardhan Hill is so special to the devotees of Krishna. In fact, in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, it tells us a very nice story of how once a devotee came to Vrindavan, from Vrindavan to Jagannath Puri with a small stone from Govardhan Hill, small shila from Govardhan Hill. And Govardhan or Giriraj is actually not different from the body of Krishna. So that Govardhan Shila was taken by the Brahmin, and he came to Jagannath Puri and he gifted that Govardhan Shila to Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very, very happy receiving that little Shila as a gift, and he felt he was receiving Krishna directly. So he wrapped that Govardhan rock with a string and he tied it to his neck, and he was wearing it around his neck. Every day, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would wear this Govardhan Shila around his neck, and it is described that he would feel sentiments of ecstatic love for Krishna so overpoweringly that he would pick up that Shila from his chest and he would press it to his forehead and to his eyes. And Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami describes that 24 hours a day the Shila was constantly soaked with tears of love that was coming from the eyes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave this Govardhan Shila later to his very intimate associate Raghunath Das Goswami, and with that Raghunath Das Goswami was given instructions how to worship this Govardhan Shila every day. And Raghunath Das Goswami, who is one of the most important associates of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, made his residence at Radha Kund, which is at the foothills of Govardhan. And there he spent many, many years. In fact, our Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, who is the author of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, that we are reading every day at this time, he also, it was at Govardhan Hill near Radha Kund that he actually heard the narrations from Raghunath Das Goswami about the Lila of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and later he recorded this entire Chaitanya Charitamrita, the life story of Sriman Mahaprabhu. He heard all this at the foothills of the Govardhan Hill. It was the Govardhan Hill that gave shelter to Kaviraj Goswami, where he wrote the greatest of all these spiritual literatures, which is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, for the pleasure of all the devotees. So we're very, very fortunate to be discussing Govardhan Lila, to speak about speak and hear about the glories of this Govardhan Hill during this Chaitanya Charitamrita class. So there are several lessons to be learned from Govardhan Lila. As I said, there are many lectures we can find of all our Guru Vargas. There are many seminars on this pastime. So I highly recommend that we all hear and meditate on the pastimes of Krishna lifting the Govardhan Hill. I'll stop here. If you have any questions, comments, additions, if there is something interesting you'd like to add or any correction, please let me know. Thank you all so much for your patient listening. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Preeti Jalasini Mataji. Thank you so much for a very, very wonderful, sweet class. I just came in right when you started the Govardhan Leela, so I didn't hear the first part of the Chaitanya Charitamrita, which you read, but you did a little recount at the end, so I'll go back and listen to the beginning. But thank you so much. As you said, it was just a wonderful meditation of the whole Govardhan pastime. I have one question. I don't know if you mentioned it, but now I had heard before that the Govardhan was one of the hill mountains that Hanuman had originally picked up to use for the bridge to Lanka. But then when they had decided there was enough, he put it down where it was. Is that, have you heard that? Do you know any reference to that? Mm-hmm. And I'm sorry, and let me finish. And then they had said, and then at that, the mountain was lamenting that it did not get a chance to partake in the pastime of the Lord, and so he was promised that in the next avatar as Krishna that he would be used. So I don't remember where I heard this, but do you have any idea? Anybody else reference to this?
I don't remember hearing any. This, but maybe it is there. Maybe someone else has heard. Please speak up.
Hare Krishna, Preeti Vilasini Mataji, Dhanvat Pranam. Such a beautiful, wonderful class. I was wishing that we should go on and on and on and on and never stop. But yes, thank you so much for this very, very beautiful class. And yes, Paneshwari Mataji, whatever you are saying is true, because once I heard even Kalasudha Mataji refer to this thing. Yes, that Hanuman was picking up the hill, and then he picked up, and then it was said that for the bridge, and it's enough. And then finally he kept Govardhan, and then he said that Govardhan was lamenting that I wasn't used in the service of my Lord. And so he was given this boon that yes, you will be used in the service in this Dwapar Yuga, and so he was used in the service.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you.
And Preeti Vilasini Mataji, I have one question. You were saying that regarding the 56 offerings. So she said that Yashoda, Mother Yashoda said that my son didn't had anything for 7 days, and 7 multiplied by 8, 56. So that's why we offer 56 offerings.
Yashoda didn't say my son didn't have, but the Vrajavasis thought that Krishna missed 56 offerings and they made 56 offerings. So that's when the tradition of Chappan Bhog began. This is also
but
something
this 56 offering, I'm sorry to interrupt, but this 56 offering was made after the Govardhan Lila last time?
Yeah, that's how they say. That's how I heard in a lecture, a couple of lectures actually.
Oh, okay.
This tradition started after this Govardhan time, because Krishna missed his meals those 7 days. 8 offerings, and these are 56. Yeah.
But previously, when Annakuta was performed, before this, torrents of rain, and before that Govardhan pastime, that time they offered unlimited, right?
Yeah, Annakuta is unlimited. Yes.
Yeah, because they were offering it, and then he said Aniyor, and then they offered Tulasi, right?
Right. You're right. Yeah.
And another one, last question I have regarding the Gopal deity. I actually was trying to hear it again and again, but was not able to understand. You repeated quite a few times. What's the village name where that Gopal deity was shifted from Annakuta Gram to?
Ganturi.
Like,
yeah, where the cloth, actually the pastime of the place was, that's where Radha and Krishna's cloth was tied, and they tried to untie it one of the days. So tying a knot. Gantuli has something to do with tying knots. Is that correct?
I don't know. I really have no idea.
Okay. So that's what was written about Gantuli Gram in the purport.
And Gopal deity is still there, or it's moved from there too?
It should be moved, Mataji. Most of the original deities in Vrindavan are moved, right, to Rajasthan. So,
okay. Yeah. So that Gopal temple is still there on top of Govardhan, or no?
I'm not aware, Mataji. I can look it up, maybe. Yeah. Since we don't plan Govardhan, so I'm really not aware, but I can look it up. Yeah.
Thank you so much for such a beautiful class, setting up the mood to get ready for Govardhan. Because Kartik is about to start here. Thank you so much.
Yes. Thank you so much, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Mataji, I had one question. Do we have a reference to where that's... I mean, I've heard it a couple of times, but I don't know where the Sastric reference is. So I was just curious if anybody knows where the Sastric reference is for this. For the past, that Govardhan was originally in Ramalila. That. Just wondering where I can
look up. I can look up and
please.
I can text you.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Mataji.
Yeah, I'll do that. Yeah. Couple of things, right? If there is a temple on Govardhan for Gopal, and also where is the reference for the story? Yeah, both I'll look up and I'll text you or email you. Okay. So anyone else has any comments or questions? Any additions?
Can you just share, maybe later on, not today if it's too much time, that how Govardhan, I don't remember the name of the sage, where Govardhan got cursed, and so it's said that Govardhan is reducing its height for 1 inch every year, right?
Yeah.
I don't remember exactly the pastime, what happened, because that Rishi has to go for some nature call. Can you just tell in detail? Maybe not now, maybe next time.
Yeah, I don't know off my mind now, but I can again send it to you.
Yes, Mataji. I'm sorry, I'm just putting you on the spot.
No, don't worry. Actually, yeah, I really don't remember, but I can send it, sure. I'll send all the 3 right away. Okay?
Yes, thank you so much.
Kirti Mataji, we actually like you putting her on the spot. It gives us more stories to relate. It's like a cliffhanger, it's like a cliffhanger, next episode of the Govardhan Lila or Krishna Lila. So we're all excited.
I know. She's my scholarly friend, so I can always put her on spot. I think so. I have that authority, like Preeti Vilasini.
Sure, Mataji, sure. And it makes me read. I'm usually very blank on many things, so it helps me read up. Thank you so much, actually. Thank you all so much again. Thank you all so much for being there on this call and giving me your wonderful association. So anyone else has anything to ask or add or any more research requests I can do?
Thank you so much, Mataji. Thank you so much for such an experience class. We were totally absorbed in the Krishna Lila and Govardhan Lila, and there were so many things. We heard so many times these pastimes, but there were so many things that you narrate so beautifully, such emotions, like so many things. Thank you so much, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Pavitra Madhuri Mataji. I often think you are like the replacement for Snigdha. Thank you so much for being on the call for us. Thank you, Mataji. Okay, we'll end the class. Thank you all so much again for your very wonderful association and very nice discussion. We'll end the call. Vancha kalpatarubhascha kripa sindhubheva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna.